Hi, everyone. Welcome into December 6th, the second week of Advent. And today we're going to light an Advent wreath and then also share a Bible verse with you. So I'm going to light two of these. And today we are reading from the book of Daniel. But before I get to that, I'm going to tell you about the activity, which is draw a picture of the Bible story. I love pictures and I love drawing them while I'm reading the Bible. So it's a good way to interact in a different way to the words. So if you want to grab a piece of paper and markers right now, you can even draw a picture while I'm reading it. So this is from the book of Daniel through 30. In a violent rage, Nebuchadnezzar ordered them to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were brought before the king. Nebuchadnezzar said to them, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, is it true that you don't serve my gods or worship the gold statue I've set up? If you are now ready to do so, bow down and worship the gold statue I've made when you hear the sound of the horn, pipe, zither, lyre, harp, flute, and every kind of instrument. But if you won't worship it, you will be thrown straight into the furnace of the flaming fire. Then what God will rescue you from my power? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered King Nebuchadnezzar, We don't need to answer your question. If our God, the one we serve, is able to rescue us from the furnace of flaming fire and from your power, your majesty, then let him rescue us. But if he doesn't, know this for certain, your majesty, we will never serve your gods or worship the gold statue you set up. Nebuchadnezzar was filled with rage, and his face twisted beyond recognition because of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. In response, he commanded that the furnace be heated to 7 times its normal heat. He told some of the strongest men in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and throw them into the furnace of the flaming fire. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were bound, still dressed in all their clothes, and thrown into the furnace. Now the king's command had been rash, and the furnace was heated to such an extreme that the fire's flame killed the very men who carried Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell bound into the furnace of flaming fire. Then King Nebuchadnezzar jumped up in shock and said to his associates, Didn't we throw 3 men into the fire? They answered the king, Certainly, your majesty. He replied, Look, I see 4, unbound, walking around inside the fire, and they aren't hurt. And the 4th one looks like one of the gods. Nebuchadnezzar went near the opening of the furnace of flaming fire and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the fire. The chief administrators, ministers, governors, and the king's associates crowded around to look at them. The fire hadn't done anything to them. Their hair wasn't singed, their garments looked the same as before. They didn't even smell like fire. Nebuchadnezzar declared, May the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be praised. He sent his messenger to rescue his servants who trusted him. So there's a lot in that story. But the one thing I keep thinking about is that's a pretty rough day for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But God was always there with them, even in the hardest time in a furnace. And so I take from this that in my life, even when I have a very tough time, God is with me there in those times. And so God is with you in those times as well. So we're going to put a sticker on the calendar. You can grab your 6 and put it over December 6th. There we go. And join me in prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for being there with us. Thank you for the courage to face tough times. Be with us, we ask you, in all of those times that are hard, in times that are rough, in times that hurt.